welcome to Breakfast Central. This beautiful Wednesday morning, reaching you live from the commercial nerve of West Africa. No, let's leave out to explain.
No, you will never leave out until rain starts.
Don't go and invoke rain, please. I'm enjoying this brief period of...
No, it rained heavily on the island
yesterday. Very heavily.
Wow, that's strange. It didn't even rain here.
No, that's how this life is.
Well, it rained for a bit.
That's what you get
from it rained really heavily.
So let's leave Aquatic Splendor for now. Let's use the Commercial Nerve Center.
Commercial Nerve Center. You will see the pepper of that Commercial Nerve Center.
We have already started seeing it. I bought petrol this morning at 920.
Yes, me too. I bought last night. I said, what's going on?
What's going on?
They just increased petrol like that without any notice.
I think this is the time to call on Pengason to show their muzzle.
Pengason, where are you?
I thought you people
were saying, Peng, where are you? All this sin.
I thought you people were on the National Association, National Association of Nigerian Students. Say Pengason is doing too much. Look at now.
No, NANS is now busy with ASU. They have faced their constituency.
NANS is just like problem upon problem. So when will they ever catch a break? When one problem is ending, another problem is... Okay, guys, let's officially now start the show.
So that guy that was shouting that Nigerians are ungrateful.
Hey, that's NANS guy.
He said all of us were ungrateful. So they removed the shirt and they've joined ASU now.
Wahala. Yes. Okay, so you're finishing.
Sorry.
Okay, and by the way, my name is Gbenga Aborowa, and we welcome you to Breakfast Central.
All right. My name is Olive Emodi, welcoming you as well to Breakfast Central and encouraging you to be a part of the conversations. We go on YouTube from time to time to pick up comments in the chat box, so engage with us, react to any of the stories that we're speaking about, and we'll be glad to pick your comments. You're welcome once again to Breakfast Central.
Well, they've said it all. My name is Johansson, so we'll go straight into the stories without wasting
Joe, I see you are very happy this morning.
Yes.
Is it the Super Eagles?
It is the Super. He didn't watch the match. You know he doesn't watch Super Eagles.
I don't watch.
He doesn't watch
for now. When we get to the World Cup.
But can we give a standing ovation to Osimhen for that hat-trick yesterday? I say standing ovation. You people are sitting down. It started from... Should I start? This standing ovation is for Osimhen and for the amazing hat-trick yesterday. You know, three... Okay,
Gbenga, let's stand.
Okay, a standing ovation.
Standing because... Wait, let's qualify first.
Okay.
But we're not qualified yet, too.
This is what you call...
No, but you guys... Don't do that. First of all, applaud what they've done. Okay. They did not... They didn't win by...
They are qualified the normal way.
No, leave now. Don't be comparing. People are behaving like those parents that your children will come out second. You say, is it not somebody that came out first?
$dollars. These are professionals.
I hereby take our seat. Please, let's take our seats.
Okay, let's do that.
This is what you call medicine after burial.
It's not medicine after burial.
Yes.
So, first of all, the way in which they played like people that went to, well, they didn't go to Benin, they played in Uyo. They played like people that wanted to win. Scored the first goal in the 3rd minute. Scored the second goal in the 37th minute. Osimhen did a wonderful thing. I think the 4th goal was scored by the 91st minute.
Brentford.
Yeah.
See that goal? Look at Keeper thought he was going left to his right. That is his left. Goal. He moved it to the right.
I feel for Benin because this would have been their first shot at getting to the World Cup. Unfortunately, those dreams have been crushed.
We should try again in 4 years' time. Or they should go to court.
Do you also... Wow, I see what you did there. Nigerian politician at work.
All right,
do you perhaps think
like the result? Go to court.
Do you perhaps think there was the home advantage at play here? The fact that they're playing
we were hungry for it and we wanted him more. And then, head to head, look at our players, man. These are world stars. They're playing some of the finest clubs in Europe, so you can't compete. And we were very hungry, and we knew, of course.
What about the World Cup this time? Yes. Look at this third goal. Look at that guy pushed, but despite the fact, I think Osimhen should be rated as one of the strikers, one of the best strikers in the world, with a powerful header.
I think he's
just, and he's very hungry. He plays with a lot of passion. Yeah. You could see it, and he's been consistent for the past few seasons. And it's just one for the Times.
Well, the stadium was filled to the brim.
It's been quite it was an interesting game.
Inspired by Victor Osimhen.
Well, they played like people who, like I said, they played like people who went there with a desire to win. Recall that a few days ago there was an incident where Super Eagles were on their way to Nigeria and had to stop at Angola because of a screen crack by, the ValueJet Airlines, and ValueJet had to send another plane to go and pick them up. They were on their way to this match. You see what happened? The enemy. Hey, I'm about to preach you guys.
They said spiritual storm from Polokwane, but it could not stop them.
Yes, the enemies tried. They sent whatever it is, tried to crack the screen.
From where?
From Polokwane. And saw that our boys were going to make us proud. And they tried several things. First of all, they tried the match in Lesotho that wasn't too great a match. Then they came back to, on the way, they tried to crack their screen. But the boys'
are you sure they're the ones that tried to crack it?
Yes, it's village people. The boys' spirits were high. And ladies and gentlemen, today, our boys have won 4-0. We will celebrate them.
But my dear sister, it's not here to who.
I know now. But let's celebrate.
We still have to go through Gabon and the winner between Cameroon and DR Congo. I know those guys, they eat apple, they are strong.
Those Cameroon guys.
Yes, it's iron jam.
I will never forget the Cameroonian national team
against Rwanda. Yeah. I think it was 3-0 South Africa did. Yes. Anyway, let's applaud our boys and just hope for better days ahead, that this is, it's going to get better from here on.
We really have to be there. And come 2026.
Because we are all going for the World Cup.
Because I don't know how we're going to do Breakfast Central.
Because I'm going for the World Cup.
Because I'm going.
Me too.
Joe, sorry. You're
going to be hosting along with Anisetos.
Okay?
You and Anisetos.
The only concern is, I don't know if you guys will the only concern is, I don't know if you still have your jobs when you come back. That's
no. By the time I go there, we're giving live reports. And I have an interview with Victor Osimhen and all these other people.
You're part of the sports team.
It don't matter.
Okay, are we part of the sports team? Does the sports team have visa?
Meanwhile.
Wow.
My brother, don't get us into trouble this morning. Let's move on.
Yeah, I don't know about
how do you think Gennot Rowe will feel? How do you think Gennot Rowe will feel now?
I mean, he did well. They almost cannot kill a bird.
He's a former coach of the
They were very competitive. But
and he went to Benin.
They just want to show him that,
that he didn't do well in Nigeria too. So
I only just hope as well, because Osimhen is our golden boy now. There's a strength and a downside to that. The strength being, we have this golden boy, and I mean, he's an addition to the team, and we're excited to have him.
Star boy.
The downside, however, is about this, the fact that there's a potential for an over-reliance on him. And if anything were to happen to Osimhen, God forbid.
No, we have Demola now.
Yeah. Demola Lukman.
Demola Lukman is a star boy.
AKA.
We have Cyril Draces. Okay. Fine boy.
Well, it's not about the beauty. We don't care about your beauty.
Can you remember Maduka?
It's about
the Nigerian girls.
Nigerian girls.
People.
I was not one of them.
The ones that removed him from Super Eagles.
No, I was not part of them. That guy.
After any little cat, like, it was like...
But he was a fine boy now. But he is a fine boy. Let's not say he was.
Fine boy, now one shop. Should have statistics will go chop.
Well, now not well, so on behalf of all of us here at News Central, we extend formal congratulations to our Super Eagles for a very well played, team, for playing well at the game. No, I'll rephrase that. Sorry, take two, in case they see this one. On behalf of all of us here at News Central Television, want to extend formal congratulations to the Super Eagles for making us proud. They played a fantastic game against Benin, and we just look forward to seeing them squash more teams. We'll be rooting for them at the World Cup. So, well done. Way to go. Attaboys.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just checking to see if there was a celebration from the presidency.
Yes. President Tinubu congratulated.
Yes, President Tinubu congratulated.
Is it before or after he congratulated Sheyi Tinubu?
On their emphatic 4-0 victory over the cheaters of Benin Republic.
And
those
one lesson is that, look,
it's
not by name change. Nigerian Prison Service in 2019 changed their name to Nigerian Correctional Services.
But it's even, I don't even know if it's
not correcting anything. So just the way the cheaters of Benin Republic, formerly known as the squirrels, a make animal, change their name to white animal, but they still chop it. Maybe they want to try lion next time, lions of Benin.
No, it's not for elephants.
Guys, this is not fair. We have viewers.
That's
what they say.
Sorry, applaudissez. Pardon.
What is going on this morning, you guys?
Oui. All right, let's move on. Let's see how Nigerians are reacting to the Super Eagles win very quickly before we move to our next story. what are Nigerians indeed saying? Let's get a glimpse of what
there have been tweets as well. I mean, even the public figures, I see that Peter Mbah had congratulated him. We'll take all those ones as well.
Team Mourinho, this one is a
Mourinho.
Wow. A good display from the Super Eagles today. If they had put on this same display from the onset, they won't be needing calculators and prayers. Just one team is needed in the playoffs to qualify. Let's hope they perform well in the playoffs. Just one team is
send them love and light.
Congrats to Super Eagles on making it to the playoffs. Honestly, didn't think they'd get the 4 goals. Did we bribe Benin or what? Ben,
what a...
seer. Ben, you are a seer.
You're not seeing, exactly.
Come on, Ben.
See how we know they see.
All right. Ebong says, thank you, Eric. Chile. Super Eagles coach, 4 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses. If only we had you on time. Hashtag World Cup playoffs.
Oh, it hasn't lost. Maybe friendly, not competitive.
Yeah, not competitive. Super Eagles need to win 4 matches in a row during the playoffs to play at the World Cup. If we play the way we did today, no team in the playoffs can stop us. That's what Idris Aminu says. Away from that, Dam says, for the first time in a while, the Super Eagles did what they ought to do. Off to the playoffs. God, I beg, allow us qualify. Oya, I'm sorry for doubting. No.
If you recall, Finidi was the coach before Eric Chell came in, and a lot of people will blame him for putting us in this situation because he lost a few games when we started the qualifying series. Yeah. And Mr. Peter Gregory Obi says, congratulations to our Super Eagles. Today, my day started very early at 6 a.m. and after a hectic day of participating in 5 different events of commissioning and campaigning in Anambra State, I had to watch the Super Eagles game. I watched it with so much confidence and pride. It was such a brilliant and sweet victory against Benin Republic. The performance was really super, showing that it's possible.
Did you see what he did there?
Yes.
The performance was really super as in Super Eagles, showing that it's possible as in P.O.
Yes. You showed true Nigerian spirit, dominance, and unity on the field. This is the power of perseverance and teamwork. Well done, Super Eagles. Congratulations. And for those that say Mr. Peter Obi is always demarketing Nigeria by using terms like it is finished, and this is not demarketing. And
Peter Obi has always been very celebratory. Remember when he went to Senegal as well to watch the team? In terms of like football players,
yes, he's always been to you a few times.
Yes, no, you can't take that away from him.
He's one of the most energetic politicians of his generation. Like, he's almost physically present where it's needed. So kudos to Mr. Peter Obi.
All right. Anyway, we have good news. Let's move away from that conversation to another. This good news.
Is it good news, really?
Well, good news for certain people. I know that on this set, there's one person, at least one person, that had F9 in maths.
No. Not F9.
Maybe not you.
It was C5. And if this thing was done retrospectively, today I would have been maybe a lawyer because I couldn't go to University of Lagos.
Because of what?
Because I didn't have, I had I think P in mathematics.
Gbenga, what is P? Your generation, they're still doing P.
Yes.
Who is E, so it's A, B, C, D, E. E is pass.
Yeah, I had a
D7 pass. E8.
I had that thing after C.
That's D7.
That's D now, D7.
No, but you typically should be able to go
No, University of Lagos. You get credit in mathematics.
Okay, some schools allow you to get into it.
And as a lawyer, do you use mathematics apart from your billing?
The only time in all my years, all through university, law school, the only course that I mistakenly saw maths was in law school when we were doing taxation, when we had to do the calculation. And I promise you, when I was reading for my bar finals, I read every single topic except that topic. I say if I sit in the exam, usually they'll give us 2 questions, you choose one. I say I'll skip it and I'll do the second one.
So that's how bar exams work?
Back then, no, not only 2 questions, but like there are different sections. So they'll say, oh, answer one from here, answer one. So there are options.
Just like,
right.
That's easy. So why do you guys think you're special?
It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
There's nothing that's easy.
Please give your past questions to Joe Anson and see what we'll do.
I'm happy to get something about MCQ. Multiple choice question. I'll bring it for you. Honestly, after bar finals, I began to respect people who went to law school and got called. I'm like, nah. And that's what even made me think then that I wanted to practice. But here I am practicing. Anyway, back to the main gist. It would seem that mathematics is no longer compulsory for art students, according to the federal government. Federal government might be waiving away that requirement to allow, they say that dropping maths for art students will ease academic pressure and make learning more tailored. But critics argue that it's a dangerous lie that could produce graduates with weaker reasoning and problem-solving skills. Now the question is this a genuine reform? Is it a soft landing for peer performance? Removing maths may make university entry easier for art students now. Like Gbenga said, he wanted to study law. And if this had been done back then, he would have been able to study.
But no regrets, so I'm happy with where I am.
Me too.
I'm a legend.
But what happens later? Employers will still demand numeracy, and global institutions value well-rounded skills. So the question is this a short-term relief? And if yes, will it lead to long-term disadvantage for Nigerian students, or will it be an advantage? So let's get your thoughts, gentlemen.
I think the Ministry of Education needs to take it further and also remove biology and chemistry. No, biology for art students, because I drew cockroach in secondary school. I don't know what's happening with the cockroach. And then, Joy, I want to ask you, where's X?
I never find X. Because
check under your shoe, maybe X.
Once I'm done with you, you are X and I cannot find you again.
Oh, wow, I see where you're going.
I don't know what you guys drive.
Mathematics, okay. I feel for me, it's my opinion, that what you need in maths is arithmetic skills.
How to do plus and minus.
Minus, division.
And you have that in your primary school.
Yeah, so.
You have that in your secondary school.
Because isosceles
it's when you're about to do, when you get to the part where you have to choose between sciences, science or art, commercial and all that. I agree. I don't think it should be a criteria. Then before getting to the university, I don't think it should be a criteria, basically. You could write your exams, you could write the senior WAEC and do mathematics, but it shouldn't be, whatever result you have shouldn't determine if you're going to
But since you're going to the university, I wouldn't, if you have an F, you shouldn't be qualified. It's just the way English, the way they use English as a credit. I mean, English is a language of instruction, so the barest minimum you need to get entry into any course in university
D7
should be a credit.
Credit, okay.
In
C4,
English, yes.
C3.
A credit. So,
English, yes.
So mathematics, you shouldn't.
I don't see that value
but
for
maths, you shouldn't also have an F9 in maths.
Why? Are you discriminating against me?
I agree. At least you should have a pass. A D
Are you discriminating against, you know?
Okay, did you get an F9?
I'm just saying, what if, by chance?
What if?
Retrospectively. You better speak now. You saw Minister Naji.
Better speak now. Let's go. So we can defend it and say after all, we can pull it and say after all, she said it on the live program.
No.
You know.
No.
But I
have my documents and I have classmates that I went to school with, and I have exam results from WAEC, NECO, and GCE. I did all three.
I'm passing flying colors.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
By the grace of God.
I think we still need to review the educational system even more. If you say people need mathematics and they don't need maths for art, I think there are some subjects and there's some courses you take that really, for you to get into those, to start studying those courses, you don't need certain type of subjects.
It's a waste of time.
Me personally, if you ask me, I think we should even just go to China and just copy their same educational format. Trust me. I think
their needs are different. They're an industrialized economy. We're still dealing with NEPA issues. So let's tailor our education towards
and problem solving. Exactly. They don't have exams for children.
Yeah, like in Finland.
Up until you get to a certain level. They don't have exams.
They don't grade
1, 2, 3, no. But here, from a young age, you start being competitive. You have to give them over the same person. And
so much assignments from primary school level.
Are you people really complaining?
Have you seen the assignments for kids?
Parents,
when they come back home with bags?
Joe, are you complaining for the children or you're complaining for yourself?
I'm complaining for the children.
Knowing that you have to help them with the assignment.
I'm complaining for the children. It's too much.
Because some of those teachers, the reason why they do it is they also want to punish the parents.
Exactly what I'm saying.
There's elements of wickedness.
Then are you complaining for the children or you're complaining for the parents?
Are you doing
Daddy, come and help me with my assignment.
No, it's too much. It's too much. And the assignments these days are too much.
Because they've been to school, they've been in school all day, and then they need to come back, rest, eat, and prepare for the next day, and you're killing them with assignments.
So I think that's also a Nigerian thing. Nigerian thing in the sense that something that you don't work extra hard for, you don't feel like you deserve it. It's why our systems and our education structure would over-labor you. It's why lecturers will say to you, I had A is for God, B is for my wife. The best you can get in this course is a C. A lecturer said that in my class. So these are some of the things in Nigeria. It's why even something as basic as getting treatment for like rashes or something, if it's not burning your skin, you don't feel like it's working. It's a Nigerian thing, right? You just want to work extra hard.
And that's why we always enjoy arguing on who suffered the most. You don't suffer now.
As a thing of pride.
And we shouldn't translate that into our education sector.
My time, I used to trek from Omoyele down to CMS.
We need to, definitely, like we said, it's when we talked about history being introduced into the curriculum, we celebrated it here. We agree that our curriculum must reflect current realities and future projections. Instead, let's start to think about the future, think about how we can better equip the students. The people they are competing against globally are people that have started coding from 5, 6, people that are, exposed to using tech from a very young age, people that are already building robots. Meanwhile, we are here forcing them to do certain things that may not even be beneficial for them.
But the downside of this is people might also lose some critical thinking skills by not passing mathematics. I'll tell you an example. I went to buy sweets. You're very familiar with this supermarket near where we used to work.
I called the name in my head.
Yes, that's the name of it. It doesn't exist.
But that's not the name
anymore.
We called it.
So it's not. I'm not giving them adverts. It's the supermarket doesn't exist. So I bought sweet, and this woman didn't have change, and I told her, please give me my change. Maybe she didn't have mathematics skills. She now told me to take 2 sweets. What if I don't feel like taking sweets? She said, take your sweets and lick your thing.
Let's hear what Nigerians are saying. I just knew it was about to say something. Let's hear what Nigerians are saying about this math.
Good times.
Oh, my goodness.
What Nigerians are saying?
Yep. Let's get to see what they say very quickly.
Abdul Wasi Solution says, that decision is deeply concerning. Mathematics should remain compulsory for our students because math builds reasoning and logic. Everyday life requires math. Making it non-compulsory sends the wrong message. Please, which wrong message does this send?
These are FICOs that will remind maths teacher that you give us assignments yesterday.
This is a major policy change. It aligns better with discipline-specific needs. Literature, history, and fine arts don't rely on math.
Exactly. Let's not waste our time.
Fact.
Tailor the subjects to what the students want to do.
With secondary school certificate, a British citizen can secure a well-paying job, to the extent that a good number of them said they don't need a degree to further their education. But for my country, even with your master's degree, they're not born you will make you see job without corruption. How does this one link?
This one went on a different speed. Maybe he's angry.
Finally, some sense in our education system. Not every student needs to solve quadratic equations to pursue arts, law, or creative careers. Let people focus on what truly builds their strengths and passions.
Fact.
Interesting.
Maths really showed me, Pepe. I used to be that maths when it's time for maths.
I'll tell you a story about maths.
Depression will just catch me.
It happens to almost all of us.
I'll share with you. After everything I went through just to pass maths, you people will continue to make maths compulsory. This is one of the people that say, I suffered. You must suffer.
During my time,
it must be compulsory.
On behalf of science students, English shouldn't be compulsory for admission into universities and polytechnics. Why I disagree with this one? Because it's our official language.
Yeah.
So I completely disagree. That one said, he says, I want to solve equations, not cramping away. Cramp. You see why you need English.
See why you need English.
This is why you need English. Cramping lines from without a silver spoon or learning the best way to write onomatopoeia.
It's people like this that, that call last section.
Or calls
which courses did you take last section?
Sequence.
And student.
I think another key factor for why students do not like maths as much or understand maths is the teacher. And I'll give you a practical example. The first half of my secondary school, from junior secondary school, I always came out best in math in my class. Best in math, best in English for GS1, GS2, GS3. Then I changed school and went to another school. And this time around, I had a math teacher for the first year of my senior secondary school that wasn't great. And by the second year, I had a wicked math teacher that made me hate the course. Guess the name of the teacher. Take a wild guess.
Mr. Emodi.
Mrs. Emodi.
Wow.
Yes. I did not like it. I've called her name many times. I hope that she's a nicer human being now.
She didn't even look at the fact that you guys
shared the same last name. I did not even want her to know that we shared the same last name. Once you hear Mrs. Emodi, and you know secondary school students are mean. They gave her a nickname. The nickname they gave her is Jezebel. So Jezebel is coming. Jezebel is coming. Everybody will start with I said, God. So I think that was Jezebel a math teacher? Now I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. Wow. But again, I say this to say that the teachers that teach the courses are a very important factor in determining whether the children will like the course or not.
Like my government teacher, I mean, that's why I'm a journalist today. Government was my favorite subject in school. And I always tell him anytime I get the opportunity, Mr. IKM Mishola, God bless you wherever you are.
Speaking about
fantastic
government,
guy.
Shout out to my own government teacher as well, Mrs. Malaka. Fantastic woman. She took me as her daughter in secondary school, and I looked forward to going to class because I knew Mrs. Malaka, if I did not go to class or I didn't do well, she would always ask me questions. She took particular interest in me. I've been looking for her everywhere, and I hope that I see her one day and just appreciate her and say, all your investment in me did not waste, ma.
Joe, shout out to your basketball coach, because that's
I mean,
that's your best
shout out to my
subject in
chemistry
school.
teacher.
Wow.
It was very, very...
You were a science student?
Yes, I
Wow.
was. I always
been looking at you
study
in
chemical engineering.
Wow, bro.
You know, in
my
between.
respect for you. My respect for you was already here, but because of this thing I said, it's gone up, only gone up.
Unilag was higher. I mean, Unilag was taking 260, then I got 245 in Jam. They said no. So they said, come and take education. I said, come on, baby. So I looked for another sciences.
Wow.
And then I went to study computer science.
Oh, wow. So you're a science student. If you had told me this info, I thought it was Olamide science student you were talking about.
No, but Joe, seriously, I mean, what you just did now has increased your own respect, reduce Olive's own. Olive's own is here now.
Let's go to Benin.
Last thing.
Let's go to Edo State.
You know why your chemistry teacher was great? Why you liked chemistry? Now, he's taught you chemistry so well, you now have great chemistry with us on set. Thank you. Yeah, let's go to the final.
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in the news. I think what he's going to say, Olive and Gbenga, they need it. Let's watch. Watch this video now. Watch this clip. Let's edit.
And you are coming to the EXCO without this as you are to come. You are going back. You are going back. No entry. Let me recognize the press. Let me welcome you to the
Governor of Edo State, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, say we are going to Benin
Governor, when
meeting.
they enter gutter,
you must wear the Jagaban cap,
Shiwaju cap
before you enter.
with the infinity sign.
and they are shouting
Akpako!
Governor.
They enter, you know.
Gota and also Poto, because last week he did enter a muddy area, but the streets call it Poto.
We see, we're laughing now, but then again, let's be serious. So the governor says before you come to an EXCO meeting, you must wear the cap. What if I don't align with what the cap stands for?
Where is the freedom of association?
Okay,
Oh my God. Why are my producers like this? Oh my God. You went to River State. No. These are River State.
Edo State connected to councillors in River State?
Because of the
River State, that there's a wind. Is it a wind of
oh my
love,
it's
share,
wind of psychophancy.
or is it a wind of psychophancy? People just try. If I were the president, guys, I would be worried.
So you know what's even interesting?
I will be worried.
Because
if you see my praises,
a personality cult.
The only book says when they oversing your praises, be careful.
Yeah.
Even the president, to be honest, the president doesn't have an impact. And I can't believe, I genuinely do not believe that the president approves of all this fangirling. That these people are people that are acting of their own accord, trying to present themselves a certain way. First of all, our constitution provides us the right to freedom of association. You can support your party, push for your party leader as much as you want, but then insisting that people must align with your party, you are also overstepping your boundaries.
I want to ask a question, guys. While he was making that statement in that video, if you watch that video, you had
some chiefs some traditional rulers
sitting down. So are they going to wear the cap too?
No, he said for EXCOs, the members of the state executive
those who were
council.
EXCOs, who have now gone, who have received chieftaincy titles and so on. And
no, there is just his commissioners that have to wear it.
Stick
and then again, I've noticed a trend about the governor of Edo State, Mr. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He's never too shy to sing the praise of Mr. President. It's almost like his personal campaign manager. He has promised, he had promised 2 million votes as the president in 2027, and every time he's always talking about the renewed hope agenda. And you wonder if he's won't also be seeking re-election for himself. It's almost like he puts Abuja before himself.
But
and I'm wondering why this level of groveling.
No, but you already know why. You already know why this level of groveling. The reason why a politician would grovel for whoever they consider their president is because there's a hope. You know that.
No, the Constitution, the president has to give you what is due to your state, your allocation.
Period. That's one. Thank you.
They are planning for
your independence.
They're planning for elections. They are planning for the next election. So if at the end of the day...
So your responsibilities to the people of Edo State, provide quality life and services for them.
Yes, on paper. But while you're giving Edo State citizens or the citizens of your state what is due to them, there's also you securing your sport. And part of securing your sport...
Mr. President has one vote.
Securing your sport involves also being able to play politics. And part of playing politics is acknowledging that godfatherism is a key part of politics in Nigeria.
Yeah, but there are subtle ways of doing it, not your
yes, because I would say that now is the most that we have seen. In the past 2 years, is the
2 million
most
votes when you are only guaranteed one vote.
Yeah, it's the most brazen that politicians have become. And that again goes back to us as citizens. Because these people, they are there because we put them there, right? Some we put there, some fought their way there.
This is almost North Korean-like type of sacrifice.
Guys, there's something that we need to see here. As early as the 1940s, right before the war, I mean, I'm just trying to remember my history as well. I wasn't a history student, by the way. But I do recall that there was one man whom, if you wanted to pledge allegiance to him, you had to say,
Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler. And you had to do that sign. And it all of a sudden became, it started off first as a way of saluting, showing you had respect, honor, and every single thing. But then again, it now became a symbol.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this there, I'm putting it out there. We need to be very careful. Because what's going to happen very soon, I won't be shocked if this starts trickling into the business sector, where they say, sorry, where do you belong?
I mean, look, it might sound like,
it's starting
this
to
is
look,
like a joke.
Let's just be careful.
But we've started seeing a cult of personality around the president. And like Olive rightly said, it's not the president that is calling for this. It's just people that are used to godfathers and are used to just...
I think naturally, Nigerians, I think naturally, when it comes to money...
Look at what happened in the Senate. I mean, in the desecration of the Nigerian Senate, where they were singing...
On the mandate you shall stand.
And then we're seeing this, telling state excos that they won't be allowed entry if they don't...
I mean, let's hear what Nigerians are saying. I'll come back and wrap up our thoughts here. And of course, there have been reactions on X. Obiora Otu says, when leadership turns into worship, governance dies slow death. Power is not about whose cap you wear. It's about whose lives you live. A governor should build thinkers, not followers. If the measure of loyalty in your cabinet is the design of a cap instead of the quality of ideas, you've already lost the plot.
Brilliant.
One bottle of
Zobo.
True leadership is not about pledging allegiance to one man. It's about pledging service to your people. Edo doesn't need political errand boys. It needs men and women with backbone, vision, and the courage to say no when the emperor is naked. Governor, wear integrity, not anybody's cap. That's how legacies are made. Not by bending low to kiss another man's ring, but by standing tall for the people who trusted you with their future. Anyways, the people who never voted for you. Bagown. Wow. Okay, let's see the next tweet. Gradually, they keep pushing Nigerians to them. They are exercising authority or banter. Till some Nigerians get angry and start a real protest, then it might be too late for them. Every big resentment starts like this. And that's from Ghost Valley of Peace, whatever this handle name is. This is no longer governance. It's a cult meeting disguised as leadership. Edo has officially traded vision for veneration, and the people are clapping while their dignity burns.
And, wow, I can't pronounce this.
No, just let's
go to the
yes. The messenger says, it has been in the nature of Niger Delta leadership since the days of slave trade to sell out for pecuniary gain. I would disagree with that. Address people call them by their names and address the situation. Don't paint everyone with the same brush. Etobong Adam says, obviously addressing his pupils to wear their uniforms or they'll be expelled. The drama of foolery
this is so on
exciting.
Point.
Adam, I think I like Adam's definition of what we just saw on TV in that video. And that definition is...
I think we should play that video again.
Let's play it again from the beginning. Let's take our time to play that video again from the beginning, from the top, so we could hear him say it clearly.
Traditional dress, and you are coming to the EXCO without this as you are to come. You are going back. You are going back. As you are to no entry. No, as you are to no entry. Let me recognize the press. Let me welcome.
So people no longer have freedom.
They no longer have to put on their thinking cap.
Oh.
They have to put on a Ashwaju cap.
And it's on that note, we drop the pin here on Wake Up Conversations.
Drop the logo. It's big wood. Big bang.
Because that one was heavy. But let us know what you're thinking. Let me see if I can take one or two messages from X. Let us know what you're thinking. We're streaming live. Go on News Central Live and drop your thoughts on any of the stories that we've spoken about. This morning, let me see. Prince Achibade says, the president is enjoying everything. He says, he then calls the president a narcissist. He says, if anyone tells you that the president is not aware of whatever they're doing, that person lied. That person lied. Tinubu likes it when people sing his praises. Well, I don't think that he's the one that mandated these people. They have a choice. But then again...
Exactly. I wish our producer can put on that picture again of the one in River State. I like the way that cap was.
No.
To whom the cap fits.
Producer.
No.
I love
okay,
this.
guys, it's
that guy on the right.
This is the picture we will use to wrap up this conversation. Thank you very much for joining us.
Joe,
let's now share with you what our top stories are.
Breaking news, by the way.
This morning,
before we get to the breaking
oh
news,
my goodness,
before we get to the breaking news, does this directive also apply to the aide-de-camp, the ADC of the governor, the police officer standing behind him?
No, he cannot wear Ashwaju cap on his uniform.
It's against Nigerian police.
Yes.
Oh, we have to ask.
Yes. No, they can brand the Nigerian police cap too. Ashwaju police cap.
Thank you, my dear sister, for answering that question.
Anyway, we have breaking news before we bring you the top stories. And the breaking news from Reuters Africa says that former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga has died at the age of 80.
Wow.
Indian newspaper Mathrubhumi and Kenyan newspaper The Star reported not too long ago. Again, breaking news, Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga has died. Former Prime Minister, I beg your pardon, has died at the age of 80. We'll bring you more details.
This is a really sad breaking news. And we extend our condolences to the people, his family, the people of Kenya. Raila Odinga did fight a good fight at the last elections in Kenya. It was very surprising to see that William Ruto had taken over him. He seemed like he had more chances
he also did
at the polls as well.
For the African Union chairperson position.
Yes, and he's been a very strong, he's been a strong opposition in Kenya. Our condolences to the Kenyan people and particularly to his family. Let's now share our top stories on Breakfast Central. This morning on Breakfast Central, Ndigbo, NANS back Sowore's October 20th protest call for Nnamdi Kanu's freedom. Away from that, the implications of party defections on Nigeria's political landscape ahead of 2027 elections will be a key focus. Senate condemns abuse of Nigerians in Libya, and we will be looking into the details of that. Retired police officers protest at National Assembly over delayed pension. The newspaper front pages, of course, will be brought to you this morning. Join us for all these and more. Human rights activist Omoyele Sowore has announced a nationwide peaceful march on October 20th, demanding the unconditional release of detained IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. What the lone call is now gaining attention within the Ndigbo World Union and the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, pledging full support.
This isn't just a protest, it's a test of Nigeria's democratic resilience, civic engagement, and the boundaries of dissent. Join us this morning on Breakfast Central to discuss and unpack all of this is the Executive Director of Lead Network Africa, Mr. Chukwuma Okenwa. A warm welcome to you and thanks for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central.
You're welcome.
Now let's get straight to it. Is Mr. Omoyele Sowore's march a legitimate exercise of democratic rights or politically charged motivation?
It is legitimate and called for As a matter of fact, I would describe it as timely. And what makes it timely is the very fact that government institutions, the judiciary, for whom the case is before, which before now, like looking at how long this matter has lasted, would have expected like a decisive position from the judiciary, because justice delayed is as good as justice denied. How can it be like a case of, consistent adjournment and re-adjournment of a particular matter of such importance, that hold great significance with the unity of the country, great significance with, a kind of addressing some feelings of marginalization from some quarters. So this is something that is timely, would have even expected the past administration to have handled. And the current Tinubu-led administration would have really latched on this as an opportunity to do something differently and indeed to demonstrate renewed hope. Sadly, it's over 2 years and it seems like there's nothing decisive. And so when you let government institutions to do the needful and they don't, then protests become a way to remind government of their responsibility, because there shouldn't have actually been the need for a protest to remind the judiciary to do the needful.
Let's then talk about, you have said that it's a long overdue protest and that you had expected that the renewed hope agenda would demonstrate some good faith in this regard. What has the growing support from the World Union and NANS signal about youth and ethnic mobilization in Nigeria? And do you think that this would garner influence and we will be able to mount pressure on the government?
Yeah, certainly. I think what Sowore has done as a strategist is to gauge the conscience of Ndigbo. Because let's not forget that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not in the news and in detention because he wants to be the president of Nigeria or because he wants to take over power through illegal means. He's saying the way that our region is being treated, the Southeast, is not fair enough. And when you look at some of the consigns empirically, whether it's like some forms of suppression, marginalizations, this is real, for a region that, has been adversely impacted in time past, by the Civil War. And now, what would have been expected, it's to find a way to ensure that, the one Nigerian project that every Nigerian truly matters. It shouldn't be clear, maybe even when it comes to government institutions. Even sometimes it's, you could see like some of those challenges in the police force, immigrations, customs. Igbos, they complain. I am speaking empirically. It's not an assumption. Interestingly, also having widely traveled and sometimes try to relate with our higher commissions beyond the shores of the country. You also see like Igbos serving in Nigeria high commissions, embassies, facing the same thing even in foreign land. So what stops the fact that if someone is part of a project, part of a family, and is complaining of a certain thing, what you should do is not to suppress, the people, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu represents the generality of the reality of the Southeast. It's not a one-man show. And so handling such matters of great importance and significance to national unity with the recklessness that the federal government and successive administrations has demonstrated in handling this is least expected and an insult on the entire Southeast region. It means that to some of these leaders, we do not matter.
I want to talk about this Southeast region. I want to make reference to one of what the Southeast leaders have said, specifically Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State, who has not affected to the APC. In a statewide broadcast, he said that the situation with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be solved politically. So let's get your thoughts, first of all. What do you, first of all, agree with that statement? And if you do, what sort of political solutions would that imply?
Yeah, why I think that recommendation is also appropriate is that if you look at the way the case has been handled, you would agree with me it's no longer a judicial process. It's no longer a judicial issue. which have even led to like the judge in charge of the case at some point recusing herself from that particular matter. It shows you that it's more of political now than even a judicial process. And if a problem is properly diagnosed as political, then of course a political solution becomes the way. Otherwise, what you now have is trying to use a judicial process to perpetrate, what actually is a political kind of a challenge. So I think that is an appropriate diagnosis. And so when you talk about what political solution that would be expected, it would be for Mr. President. I mean, he's got all of the powers. You have the Attorney General, right? He could decide to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but of course, on certain conditions. They should be able to look at, okay, what are some of the concerns of this young man? Strike a deal. If Israel and Gaza can strike a deal, why can't Nigeria strike a deal, right? I mean, even when it comes to like intra-affairs, affairs that involve, some Nigerians with some Nigerians. And I think that is what is reasonably expected, that dialogue, negotiation would be the way to go about this, and not intimidation, suppression, detention, and continued adjournment and re-adjournment of this particular case. It is unfair, it is inhuman, and I think the government can do better.
All right. The second one, the leader of the Biafra Actualization Movement by name, Chief Ralph Owazurike, has opted to actually testify in favor of the detained leader known as Nnamdi Kanu. What do you think this will do to the case? And do you think this would in any way speed up his release or allow him to actually stand in for Nnamdi Kanu? In other words, also help him to get released on time. Do you think this has any implication?
Well, it all really depends on, it is said that he that holds or heed the piper, right? Or he that pays the piper determines the sound of the tune. And the people who pay in this particular case, both political actors and, of course, the piper now, is the judiciary. And what that means is that, I mean, if you testify, there is still a judge who is either going to strike out your witness as lacking in merit or going to sustain that. Whatever be the case, we see a judiciary that, is visibly compromised, because delaying this matter over and over again, it is no more justice. I mean, I see no reason why a matter like this should be a trivial issue that every time, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu want to go to court, we're expecting what is going to be anything different, and it's going to be the same story. And every time he has to come to court, heavy security. And I mean, all of the drama Mr. President should put an end to all this drama.
Now let's come back to this planned protest by Omoyele Sowore on October the 20th. The Nigerian police force has said, there's the case in court already, and that going ahead to protest will be prejudiced and also undermine the Nigerian judiciary. What's your take on this? Is this the best approach? And is this protest really necessary?
It is very necessary, because don't forget that when you talk about government, legitimacy of every government lies with the citizens and with the people. The judiciary, the executive, legislature is meant to serve the people's interest and protect the interest of the citizens. So when we see any arm of the government that is not functioning, and we rise to protest and say, you know what, we are demanding for justice. Demanding for justice, I don't think it's in any way a subjudice of any sort. Rather, it's promoting justice, because the judiciary wouldn't have even needed for years for maybe a Sowore to come up, and maybe some Igbo leaders coming up to now go in this particular regard. I mean, what even really stops them between now and that 20th? From calling a spade and rather like a famine implement. If you want to say that this guy is guilty and you are imprisoning him, if you think that that is the best decision, then let us know. If you also think that he is deserving of his freedom, that the things that he negotiated and agitated for, howbeit maybe, like some of us in the Saudis, we do not agree with the approach that maybe Mazi Nnamdi Kanu perhaps he would have done better. But of course, when someone is agitating, what you should look at is the merits of his agitations, not necessarily the approach, because there wouldn't have been an approach, first of all, if there are no substance for agitations. So look at it first of all. Before you now say, oh, you would have done this better and all the rest of it. That's how to go about things. And perhaps also some of the approach, approach becomes flexible because sometimes you try to negotiate, speak about some of these issues, which Ndigbo has been speaking since, since the start of war, saying, let's apply the three, let's reconstruct, let's reconcile, let's have like a table that is big to ensure that every Nigerian count, irrespective of, like, look at the disgraceful work that Nick Don Chairman is doing. When an Igbo person, right, it's involved in a crime in diaspora, the person is called out by the region, and of course you see all Igbo saying this is bad. But when it's a Yoruba, there is a special criminal, right? You begin to see to err is human and to forgive is divine. That is irresponsible and not expected of a leader occupying such a very sensitive position. When you are putting it to the face of the Saudis that we don't matter, we're almost like tenants, we are not co-equal stakeholders in the Nigerian project, then it's ridiculous. We find that ridiculous,
While the National Association of Nigerian Students is pledging support, as well as Ndigbo, to this protest by Omoyele Sowore, the Northern Nigeria Youth Leaders Forum has condemned the alleged plans for this protest. Not only did they condemn it, they have said that the court should be allowed to decide on Nnamdi Kanu's fate. That so far he's innocent until proven guilty, but that the court should be allowed to do its job. They then go ahead to say they will then stage a solidarity protest. From October 21st. I don't want to quote the date wrong. All right. Yeah, that they will stage a celebratory protest from October 21st to 23rd in support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, citing progress reports like the student loans and the like. And then they go ahead to say that bodies like Man O' War, Boys Brigade, Peace Corps, and civilian JTF will participate in the march, whilst in the same breath emphasizing the need for unity across religious and ethnic divides. Let's have your reaction to that.
Honestly, for those that, this is one very sad trend that is almost becoming norm. And I think, I doubt if we've ever seen that before, like except in this administration, like the last End Hunger protest, where we also have like counter-protesters. I even cite an instance that if you have right to protest, then we have right to counter-protest. The Constitution doesn't provide for counter-protest when you want to now use maybe government might, right? Some forms of support to quell the efforts of citizens who are trying to register their grievance. It's nothing but political, and it's a bit of shameful because if you look at the Nigerian society, compared to some other nations where Nigerians want to jabber to, because if our Nigerian leaders, if they all claim they love Nigeria and Nigeria is working well, very simple, empirically, bring back your children here, ensure all your medical files is here. We don't want to hear of a president going to France for treatment or to UK, or the children resident there and there, or a senator celebrating with the children that just graduated from UK universities. Wills is their right, but show your patriotism, right? Bring your people, to even tell Trump that he can send his own children to Nigeria to come and school. Nothing stops us from being a sovereign nation that people can also be proud of, sending their kids to come and school here, or even coming here for medical treatment. It's not just something that maybe we just, just only say that Nigeria is this and all of that. Show it practically. Show it through your body language. So for those people planning for counter-protest, funny enough, when you look at many of them and what they will be paid at the end of the day, maybe 1,000, 10,000 just to protest and to keep suffering, it really becomes like a very sad one. Sometimes I really begin to wonder, why is it those that suffer the most in Nigeria that are actually being used, right? By political actors for shameful assignments, whilst their children and UK and US enjoying, the wealth of the family. Maybe.
Mr. Okenwa, earlier on you had highlighted that NIDCOM was biased in its speech when it comes to the Igbos. Well, I'm aware, and I'm sure that you are also aware that NIDCOM has debunked that statement, stating clearly in a press release that the CEO is not one to do such, and NIDCOM does not stand for that. They do not support a particular tribe and neglect another tribe, even though many have alluded to the tweet and the messages that they found on X. But just to clarify that, because NICOM had put out a press release.
Okay, let me say something. I mean, when a chairman can make such careless statements, because what they are just trying to do to me is just cosmetics, a makeup, right? Because just like the president of a nation speaking, maybe at the United Nations or the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and then it comes down and says chairman, right? The chairman is the chairman, and a chairman has the right to speak on behalf of the board, right? Anything you say, you must be very conscious of that particular fact that anything you say represents the image of the particular organization that you represent.
Okay, all right. With that aside, I think we've been able to clear that part. You have your opinion, but then again, NICOM has also made a clear statement that that's not exactly what they plan. But let's go into this protest. Sowore is taking it by the bull's horn to ensure that he carries out this protest. What do you envisage will happen? Do you think the protest will have any impact on what will happen in the next few months? And looking at the governor's move, the Enugu State governor, also speaking about it being politically solved, do you think other governors will be willing to join their voices to ask for the release of Nnamdi Kanu? Or do you think it's just a loner? He's just a loner in his quest to ensure that he gets released?
Well, I think as far whether the protest is really going to make an impact, I think it will. My only concern is on the safety of the protesters. You know, considering the ways and mannerism government has, deployed that monopoly of violence, which is constitutionally provided, even though in Nigeria there is no monopoly of violence, because you also have non-state actors that can show government some level of might, and all government can do is to bring them to the table of dialogue and negotiation. Government's ready to negotiate with criminals, but ready to criminalize people who are legitimately expressing their rights as citizens. That is uncalled for. Having said that, I think, at least we're beginning to see government actors remember that once more, there is a court that should be allowed, to decide on the case. So I'm really excited about, the prominence that the case is taking. At least we're having this conversation as seriously as we should, and not just like the usual way that every Nigerian is accustomed to: go to court, return to detention, repeat the process, try it 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. And then as regards to like Governor Peter Mbah's call and the likelihood of other governors, joining in that call, it's unlikely, because for many other governors, they just want to be politically correct, right?
All right.
They don't want to say anything that maybe may affect their political future, right? For whatever reason. But I can tell you, releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu represent the generality of the concerns and wish of those from the Southeast region. All
right. Thank you very much for joining us. We're counting down the days. It's 5 days to October 20th, and let's see what happens before then, during the protest if it holds, and after then. But thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Breakfast Central will now go on a break, and when we come back, we have our other guests. We're speaking about Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State officially defecting from the PDP to the APC. What does that mean? Find out when we return.
Breakfast Central. It's no longer news that Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State has officially defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. This isn't just a solo move, as his defection reportedly includes his entire cabinet, 17 local government chairpersons, and a staggering 80% of PDP executives in Enugu State. The APC now controls 3 states in the southeast, namely Imo, Ebonyi, and Enugu.
Well, Governor Mbah's defection has raised urgent questions as to whether or not his move is strategic realignment and what it means for the PDP's grip on the Southeast and the APC's ambitions in 2027. Well, to unpack this discussion, we have 3 heavyweight voices from the 3 major political parties. You could call them the opposition as well, and not forgetting to the main current APC as well. So We have the APC, we have the PDP, and then we have the ADC. I'm going to start off first with the one in the studio. We have joining us is the chairman of the ADC Lagos State chapter. We have Mr. George Ashiru in the studio. He's here with us. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
It's my pleasure always.
All right. We also have Mr. Alphonsus Eba, member of the People's Democratic Party, is also here too. But Mr. Alphonsus is the APC chairman in Nigeria. He's the National Secretary Forum of the APC chairman in Nigeria. Mr. Alphonsus joins us as well. Good morning to you, Mr. Alphonsus.
Good morning.
All right, great. We're hoping that the network would allow us to get your input well. And also joining us, we have the People's Democratic Party, Mazi Dickson Iroegbu. He's here with us as well, joining us via video conferencing. Thank you so much for being here as well.
Good morning, and it's my pleasure to be here.
All right, so those are the three guests that will be joining us in this conversation. We're going to start off first with the big one. Although many said they saw it coming, it's got to do with the Enugu State governor who has officially defected from the PDP to the APC. And I think the first person that would actually speak on this and drop his comment would be Mazi Dickson Iroegbu, who is a PDP member. What do you make of the defection? Is it something that you think will actually put a break on the walls of the PDP in the southeast, or you think it's a no-brainer, it's not going to actually disturb the party?
For this opportunity this morning, and to your question about the shameful defection of the current governor of Enugu State. First, I will speak as a party man, and then also as a Southeastern, as an Igbo man. As a party man, for us, yes, losing any member, not just whether you're governor or senator or House of Rep member, is not what we would be excited about naturally. Especially that this is someone who rode on the back of our party to get to where he is today, and eventually decided to betray the party. For me, as a party man, has it any effect on our party? Well, of course, if it wasn't going to have any effect, we wouldn't be discussing it this morning. But about the future of the party, the PDP is strong. The PDP is realigning and repositioning itself to first have the convention, our forthcoming convention in Ibadan on the 15th to 16th in November. That is our primary focus at the moment. Immediately that is concluded, we'll have the new NWC that will now steer the ship of the party to the movement towards 2027. But about these governors who have so far defected, it's shameful, really, because I listened a bit to the Enugu governor, where he said he admires the current president and that immediately he removed subsidy, that he started admiring him, fell in love with him and all of that. But they forget also how that this president built his own CV politically when the PDP was in power, and certain groups from the Northwest and all of that, Southwest, I mean, defected and all that. He stayed and built his own arsenal, with which he now, in collusion with the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, and all of that, and they formed what is now known today as the APC. So it just shows that they are copying the wrong things. These are just breakfast is ready politicians. They are not grounded. They are not available to build up both themselves and also their followers. So the reasons are just, permit my usage of the word, very shameful, really. It's not anything that anybody should take seriously.
All right.
And if he thinks he's popular, by the time 2027 comes, these defectors will, by his grace, by the time the party has put itself back on track, the Nigerian people will speak, because that's our focus. Just like the People's Democratic Party, our party is by the people, is for the people, not by the governors, not by the senators or House of Rep members. So, yes, it is not exciting to us, but will it derail our drive towards reclaiming the villa in 2027? No, it will not. We just have seen that there are those who should not be taken seriously politically within our space. All right,
Mazi Nnamdi, thank you very much for your submission. Let me come back into the studio and bring Mr. Ashiru into the conversation. And now we want to look at the mass defections. Enugu State Governor has defected. Earlier today on the show, we played a video of Edo State Governor giving a mandate to members of his EXCO regarding the Asiwaju cap. Let's take a look at the video and I'll come back to get the reaction of Mr. George Ashiru.
Traditional dress and you are coming to the EXCO without this Asiwaju cap. You are doing Asiwaju, no entry. No Asiwaju, no entry. Let me recognize the press. Let me welcome you to the.
And I thought it was important for us to play that video because while we speak about mass defections, we're seeing all the movements going to the All Progressives Congress. Is this a cause for concern if it has gotten to the point that the governor says to his EXCO, no Asiwaju cap, no entry? Let's get your reaction, Mr. Ashiru.
Well, ADC has benefited from a lot of coalition partners and defections too. You know, a lot from the PDP and from the other constituent groups of the APC, especially in the north. So, and one thing is very important, any empire, no matter how big it is, at some point it's going to crumble. And it will crumble from within. Unfortunately, that is what has happened to the PDP. The PDP was a large empire, came into Nigeria as part of the Third Republic, and then, unfortunately, lack of the right type of leadership and the right kind of ideological foundation imploded from within, and APC took advantage of it. And now APC is doing the same thing the PDP was doing. It's also trying to build itself into an empire, not built on the people's foundation, but built on power and ambition and personality cults, and follow the leader, but not the people. And it's also going to implode from within in the same exact way history has shown us. So we're not worried about people trying to climb into a ladder that other people built to see what they can get out of it or to protect themselves. We are more worried about whether or not the people can see it for what it is, which is opportunism. And so that the voters will go out and say, we will rebel against you, even though you are a governor. We will rebel against you, even though you are a senator, because you are not thinking first and foremost about the interests of the people who voted you in the first place. You are thinking of your political calculations and your personal ambitions, or protecting whatever it is that you think you have established in that short period of time by simply going to where you feel you might get protected. The world has to think about a person like Donald Trump, who worked against, who took over his own party and said, this is not the way this thing, or the American people want things to be. And the American people backed him up. So he went solo. And now he's become president twice, something that hasn't happened, in the space of, with one democratic president in between. So it tells us that we're at the point now where populism is popular. People are no longer following individuals or try to be part of the powers that be. People are doing what is right for the people. And I think any politician who simply defects because it will protect my political interest, that kind of politician will meet a new kind of electorate that have a bit more wisdom about their choices and their opportunities. Because look around the indices for which Nigerians are judging themselves. We say we have liberalization of the first sector of this country. You and I can't even get this fuel in this country. These are simple indices that affect the average person. That's the kind of thing a governor should be focusing on. How do I ensure that the people, my people, are not suffering from the effects of liberalization? But the same governor comes and says, oh, I like the fact that fuel was How about the impact of the people of Enugu? Have you thought about the kind of answer you are going to give to them for the suffering they are going to experience from a policy that was not well planned? The idea of the policy is not the problem. It was not well implemented. And the impact of it is what we're seeing even 2 years later now, the whole industry. So we constantly say that any kind of government that does not take into account the good impact of policies for the people, then that person or the personality or whoever it is that's decamping is doing it for themselves.
Is it any different from what the politicians who have decamped to the ADC are doing?
Because if you look at all the people decamping, they are not governors in power. They were not elected. These were individual citizens that were in their parties. Maybe they were former, whatever it is. They are individuals who are not responsible anymore for the votes of those who put them there.
Not elected officials.
They are no longer elected officials. They are private citizens. They've come to say, okay, you know what, let us come together and rebuild something that reflects more of what Nigeria, stands for. Then others will look at it and say, at least they cannot say they're coming to ADC because we are the governor or we are the president. They're coming to ADC because of a philosophy. But if we had power and they were coming to us, then we would say, okay, we know why you are coming to us. You want to come and take part of the Commonwealth, share the national cake, collect your own palliatives. But we are not in power. So when you come to us, you are coming to us because of what we stand for, our philosophy, our ideology, our principles, and so on and so forth. And I think I keep saying it. Let's forget about politics sometimes just for a little while and think of the Nigerian people.
Thank you, Mr. Ashiru. I'd like to bring in Mr. Alphonsus Eba into the conversation. He's the only APC man on the panel, and I see you smiling. Now, I'd like to start off from what Mr. Ashiru in the studio said about implosion. And this is very recent history in our political journey in Nigeria. The People's Democratic Party, they took on so many people. They boasted that they were going to be in power for 100 years, and we see what happened. It took on so many people, and the ship imploded, to put it that way. My question is, what is so attractive about the ruling All Progressive Congress that all these governors seem to be going there in spite of the damning statistics? Insecurity, the World Bank report just said over 120 plus million Nigerians are living below the poverty line. But you still see politicians, trying to get even the ones that are not defected. For example, the governor of Edo State is a member of the People's Democratic Party. He's already endorsed Mr. President ahead of 2027. So are these defections because of the policies of the APC government? Is it because of the love of the country? Or are they doing this for pecuniary reasons? Is it self-serving?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Go ahead, please.
Again, I say good morning to you.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Because I am relishing in the euphoria of the increment and growth in the membership of our party. By not just any other person, the man whom say the Bible in the book of Matthew 16, verses 18, spoke about. I am so happy. And let me again say congratulations to Governor Peter Mbah for joining the progressives, because he himself has been a progressive all along in the wrong place. And why did I take that episcopal point? The Bible in the book of Matthew 16, 18 clearly said, Peter, rock, shall I build my congregation and my church. Peter Mbah has joined us for us to continue with the mission of our evangelism, and we are happy to have him. I sympathize with my dear brother of the PDP extraction. The word shameless should not be used. It is strategic reasons. And permit me to take you on a historical and analogical documentary of what the southeastern region used to mean. As far back before the amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914, In 1907, apart from Lagos, that was a colony, the entire southern Nigeria had its administrative headquarters in Enugu. If you remember the partnership between the NCNC, and the Action Group that brought about the United Progressive Grand Alliance during the independence era. If you go back to 1979, the NPP Alliance and the NPN, it has always shown that the southeastern region has always been in one block. In the last few years, it became an anomaly to have political parties driving the politics of the southeastern, where you have the Labour Party, you have the ABGA, you have the APC, and you have the PDP. What Mbah has done that is historic and he must be commended for being visionary is that he has joined his fellow brothers, Governor Okpebholo and Francis Nwifuru. And I am happy that before December, another governor from the southeast will join us. It means the southeast have realized that they are coming together to socket to the center. And when you socket to the center, you provide the proper plug, which will bring an illumination. This becomes the easiest road for a Nigerian of a southeastern extraction to get to Aso Rock. I am a believer in equity and justice, and I strongly believe that when power gets back to the northern part in 2031, we should be able to have a vice presidential candidate in the southeast. And 8 years after, somebody from the southeast should become a president. This is the mirror, this is the road that is clearer than whatever anybody can say. Back to the issue of my brother in ADC. You know, I had spoken about the ADC, that any coalition or a concatenation that cannot agglutinate is tantamount to a political dysentery that can only be administered with a kind of medication that we used to call alagbin, Fensic, and there is one called APC. We are the cure to APC. We will not implode. I know that the ADC is in a state of higgledy-piggledy. And so at this point, there is nothing they can say that will be palatable to the euphoria that we relish in. That's Dumb's prophecy. We have not boasted that we will rule for 60 years like the PDP did. Pride goes before a fall. What is attracting Nigeria today is the performance of Mr. President. And like I love what Governor Peter Mbah said yesterday, that the removal of the subsidy, the unification of the exchange rate, and he was speaking from a business point of view.
All right, Mr.
So this has changed the narrative for Nigeria.
Mr. Eba, we'll come back to talk more about this. I can see that you also have some pharmaceutical qualifications in addition to your political background. So we'll come to expand further. We need to go on a very quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at Nigeria's political scene, especially as we're counting down to 2027 while being in 2025. We have three gentlemen joining us for this conversation. In the studio, we have Mr. George Ashiru, who is the ADC chairman in Lagos State. Thank you for staying tuned. And we also have joining us virtually Mr. Alphonsus Eba, who is the APC chairman in Nigeria and also the Cross River State and National Secretary Forum of APC chairman in Nigeria. We also have Mazi Dickson Iroegbu, who's the chairman, who's a member of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I want to come to Mr. Eba and dig in a little further. When a number of these politicians say that they're leaving their political party to the APC, one of the reasons that they give is that they want to be aligned to the center. We see that Governor Peter Mbah had said it was a political decision by the state and that they all want to be sort of in unison. The governor of Delta State, Governor Sheriff Oboroweri, said he wanted to be connected to the center. Governor Imoyeno said he wanted to be connected to the center. So are we saying that for you to get things done in your state, if you're not connected to the APC, then it's a no-show?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, please. Do not forget the ordinary balance. Nyanga they sleep, trouble come wake her up. Nyanga they sleep, trouble come wake her up. 6 months into the administration of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you realize that we just within 6 months of the administration of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so political spent forces came together and said they were going to overthrow, whether through democratic or undemocratic means, the president and commander-in-chief that had barely settled to govern for 4 years. And then, rightly guided thinking Nigerians who are governors and who understand where we were and saw where we were going to, quickly said, no, we will not allow any kind of coalition to lobotomize a performing president, a performing political party that have come to take us from the phantasmagorical economic direction we were going. And now we have a focus that we can get to the pot of splendor. So what they decided to do, because they understand that they were in a ship that was sinking and they have no life jackets, it was safer for them to join in the ship that can take them to the pot of splendor. So the coming of Governor Reef, the coming of Governor Pastor Omoyele, the coming of Governor Peter Mbah, and in the next few days, by the grace of God, because don't forget, I'm a political evangelist. Only 2 weeks ago in Jos, I met with the governor of Taraba State, Governor Kefas, and I told him while we're discussing about Bayelsa, I said, sir, you are closer to me. I will want you to come. And do not forget, it is by the power of God. It is not by our power. We have been praying that now that we have a thinker and a doer as a president of Nigeria, by the special grace of God, Nigerians should see that there will be light at the end of the tunnel, even though he has carried out a very major economic surgery that is costing a lot of pains. But this will be attenuated with time. And people are saying, it is what they are joining. It is not self-serving. It is because some people have come to say, and do not forget the Bible in the book of Isaiah 54:15 says they will surely gather, but because this gathering is not of God, they will surely scatter. It is the direction we are going. And the book.
Okay, Mr. Eba, if you're there, I think we've gotten your point. Let's move quickly to the to our guest from the PDP, Mazi. Mazi Dickson, I'm sure you've heard everything the APC rep has said, especially talking about the PDP, saying you shouldn't call it what you did call it, the move of the Enugu State governor. And then he's highlighted why everyone is plugging to the center, although I stand to be corrected. I was finding it really hard to understand what he meant. It's a bit difficult, maybe because of the network, or maybe because of the
evangelical language
being used. So, Mr. Eba,
evangelical pharmaceutical language.
Yeah, so Mr. Eba, maybe when we come back to you, you will help us break it down so that a Musiliu, a Chinedu, Ubong, who is, they can understand why people are moving to the
you can carry everyone along.
Yes, carry everyone along, please, we beg. Okay, make it easier, please. I think that's what broadcast is all about, make it easier for people to understand. But let me come to the PDP. Mazi Dickson, you had said, what's your reaction to that?
Well, everything he said is confusing to himself. Yeah, like he said already, he admitted that he's basking in the euphoria of their so-called shameless defectors to their ruling party. Because let me speak from the point of PDP. First, the attempt to demonize and say, oh, we had pride. There was no pride. We gave ourselves a target that between the time that we came into power in 1999, that if the PDP continues steadily in the direction it ought to be going, that this nation would have indeed become what it ought to be, the giant of Africa, and indeed the most populous black nation that is prosperous. That was the vision of the party, that for 60 years, continuous application of the policies of the party, that this country will become what it should be. That was the vision. And then, of course, we built on that. If you look at the trajectory of the journey of PDP, institutionally and all of that about governance, the party did set up a lot that would help this country grow to where it should get to. And of course, if you remember, before the APC came to power, PDP had governed this country in a manner that every Nigerian was beginning to believe in our journey towards nationhood. There was no intentional balkanization and divisive approach as the APC adopted. We didn't have that. The economy of our country was the #1 growing economy in the continent of Africa, #5 growing economy in the whole world. That was where we were before APC came. Remember also that before the PDP left, our economy was about $555 billion worth. But today it's in ruins. Everything we built, this party came and ruined everything. Now, they are going further now to push to the level where they want to reduce the nation to a one-party state. And that is the danger here in all of these so-called acclaimed defections and all of that that my brother from the APC is trying to highlight. There's no reason whatsoever. As a Southeasterner, for instance, we know where we were. Before APC came to power in 2015, Southeastern Nigeria was the most peaceful zone in Nigeria. The most peaceful zone in Nigeria. Today, the Southeastern Nigeria is a shadow of itself. Today, earlier, I watched your show earlier when you had someone, a guest, talking about the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and all of that. If indeed these so-called politicians from Southeastern Nigeria, the governors so-called who have defected and all of that, had anything about the interest of the people at heart, you would ask yourself, of what use is it that you're joining this APC? What are the Igbos, the Southeasterners, going to gain? What have they gained thus far from the APC? Nothing but ruins. Nothing but everything about, more like reducing the Easterners, as Buhari referred to, dot in a cycle. So it is selfish and personal interest that is all that they are going, into the APC for. These are cowards, as far as I'm concerned, because a lot of them have skeletons in their cupboard, and so when they are coerced, when they are presented with their files and all of that, of course, you know what the former national chairman of the APC said about joining APC. If you are a criminal, once you join APC, your image will be laundered. Haven't we seen our president, the commander-in-chief, giving amnesty, pardon to criminals, confirmed, drug lords, confirmed kidnappers and all of that, have been granted pardon? That's what APC is about. So those who are joining there are only joining so that whatever negative image they have can possibly be shielded from facing the law. But let me bring in response to what the ADC, my brother in the studio, stated. You see, whether we appreciate the situation that we are in now or not, there is a need for the opposition parties to put the interests of the Nigerian people first forward, like you rightly said. Let's put the interests of the Nigerian people forward and come together to save ourselves from these ruiners, because we don't have Democrats today in power. What we have are plutocrats, those who have money and grabbing every space where possible. So there's a need for people to realize that the PDP remains that wonderful umbrella that can accommodate all of us. The so-called coalition that adopted ADC as the political party that they are going to run from and all of that, you ask yourself, well, is that how we're going to do it? Individuals cannot form coalition. It is political parties that can get together to form coalition. And today in Nigeria, the only party that can lead that coalition alongside other opposition parties is the People's Democratic Party, so that we, on behalf of the Nigerian people, can help engage the system and indeed demand for the welfare and security of the Nigerian people, which is the primary purpose of governance.
Okay.
These people have no such plan whatsoever. It is all about grabbing from the system while the Nigerian people, are going through the terrible state we find ourselves. They keep referring to the removal of subsidy and all of that. Okay, you haven't removed it. What have we achieved? There is acute hunger in the land. There is escalating insecurity in the land. Kidnapping has become a major booming business in our country under the watch of APC. And they keep telling us cock and bull story about how they are doing well. The thing about APC is that everything it has touched about Nigeria, is in ruins.
Okay,
Everything.
Mazi,
Security, economy, everything is in ruins. The unity of our country is in ruins. It's all divide and rule.
All right, Mazi Nnamdi,
there's nothing positive to gain from these people.
Mazi,
and
thank you for your point. There are a few questions we want to touch on, especially now that we're having this discussion. But before then, let's quickly bring to our viewers a breaking story. Well, the breaking story simply is that former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Odinga, has died, and he died at the age of 80. Now, don't forget, too, that we must tell you very quickly that Odinga suffered a cardiac failure during his morning walk. The Nairobi-based Star newspaper and other Kenyan media outlets reported that he passed away in India after suffering a heart attack. Odinga was the son of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who served as Kenya's first vice president in Jomo Kenyatta's administration. Considered political royalty in the East African nation, he was widely popular among his supporters who heeded his calls en masse to demonstrate when he complained about vote rigging. The electoral disputes repeatedly triggered ethnic tensions and violence, most notably in 2008, if you recall, when more than 1,100 people died and about 350,000 were forced to flee their homes. That's the breaking story. Sad news. Former Kenyan Prime Minister dies at the age of 80.
Raila Odinga indeed was, a very dogged person. Very dogged. You would see that he contested for elections about 5 times. Each time he would contest the results of the elections. We saw his performance at the last elections. Many found it very surprising that William Ruto overtook him. But of course, he comes from a dynasty of strong politicians, which is why many had assumed that would have reflected at the polls the last Kenyan elections. But our condolences to the Kenyan people and to the family of Raila Odinga. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Really sad breaking news there. But let's go into the conversation here and look at our elections. We're counting down to 2027. We're in 2025. And it feels like the body language feels, we say this as a joke here, but it's the truth. It feels like we're in 2025, there's no 2026, next year is 2027. With all the politicking that is happening, how is the ADC positioning itself to be prepared for 2027? There's angle of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's role in the ADC, the speculations about His Excellency Peter Obi and whether or not he's a member of the ADC, even though we see him outrightly supporting the ADC. So what's the latest in that regard?
And there's also the PDP people saying that, you are a coalition of strange bedfellows and they are the best vehicle to champion this coalition. So you're fighting multiple battles.
So we are quite happy to have all of these thoughts and fights coming at us because we have the singular advantage of not having any history of misgovernance. We don't have any history of stealing Nigerian money. We don't have anybody in EFCC custody or having EFCC case in our party. We don't have any history of bad governance or bad policies that has affected Nigerian people. That is the reason we were adopted as a party that has survived 19 years and not won the presidency and not been deregistered. Basically building because it had a vision that one day it will be the party that extends its handshake across the nation. And then all of a sudden, everybody opens their eyes and all of the big political heavyweights of the last election choose one party. That should send a message to people. Who won Lagos State in the presidential election last election? Peter Obi won. And that just tells you what is happening in Lagos. But you see, when the governor of Enugu State or any of the 3 eastern states are running to the person whose representative in Lagos destroying the economies in Lagos, that tells you that they are not running to the center. They are running away from judgment. And that's very important to notice. We are here defending the interests of the people from the southeast, whose shops and businesses are being destroyed on a regular basis, as we can see, Trade Fair and Amu and all the other places. But their governors are not fighting for them. They are running to the same person whose minions are here destroying their businesses. See, we can say anything we like politically and use beautiful language and Shakespearean words to kind of hide the truth. The truth is the average Nigerian person, you just mentioned the statistics, 120 million Nigerians and possibly more are living below poverty line. And just like Mazi Dickson said, Nigeria's GDP is about half what it was 11, 12 years ago. So we're nowhere near the so-called $1 trillion economy. So whatever decisions people are making is not based on the statistics on the ground. It's based on their pecuniary interests. As simple as that, black and white. Now, ADC became attractive because they have used these platforms before. And the Nigerian people are saying, no, we don't want again. We are not going back. That's what Kamala said. So people are not going back because they feel, look, we've given you opportunity. What did you do with it? I was a president of the National Sports Federation in the period of the presidency of Goodluck Jonathan. So basically, I was working for ministers. And so I could tell you what was wrong with that government. So when I speak as somebody who has been in the opportunity to be close to decision makers.
To be close to the center.
To be close to the decision makers. And what I can say from the vantage point of somebody who was elected into that position without being a member of a party, just purely by virtue of my own personal merit, I can tell you why people don't want to go back to that experience. But what they thought was coming together, which my brother from Mr. Eba, he says, the gathering of people that God did not permit. No, it's Nigerians gathering together. We thought that Nigerians coming together to form APC will now help Nigerians get away from the misrule of the previous administrations. But what has happened to our GDP is gone down over the years. Income per capita gone down over the years.
And
more people are suffering. These are verifiable facts. You don't whitewash it. You don't clean. A cracked wall that you put plaster doesn't mean it will not collapse. So we're speaking about those facts. Now, what we have learned from that in ADC is to say, let's lay a good, clean, strong foundation. And that foundation was what made strange bedfellows that you call. Say, maybe, actually, this is the organ. Now, why didn't they form what would have been a merger? Why weren't they pushing? Because they realized that they're going to take faulty parts to try and make a wholesome whole. And that would have been difficult. So you don't take PDP with the history of people saying, I know what I suffered under PDP. Then you take a bit of this, a bit of that, and then you try to form a coalition. That will still come with its own challenges.
But you're taking the individuals.
So, but why did CPC and ACM work? Because ACM doesn't have to take the blame for the failures of federal government. CPC doesn't have to take blame for the failures of the federal government. So they could come together in the hope that they will rescue the whole of Nigeria. But that in itself was people coming to the center. But what has happened to that center? That center now has been taken over by an empire. And so what I think we are trying to do in ADC is to say, we don't want those two extremes. And I quite like the fact that Mazi Dickson said, let us come together. We agree. But I think it's better to come together with a neutral organ like ADC that does not have any history to worry about. Let the people that had the best votes in the last election coming together under the same party, whether you like it or not.
That is the best choice. Extended an olive branch to Mazi to join the ADC.
Oh, yes, definitely. His brethren are already with us, so come and join us.
Just before we wrap up, I'd like to bring in Mr. Eba, our political evangelist. Please, if you can, in less than a minute, would appreciate. Now, Mr. Eba, as we wrap up, as the APC, or does the APC risk becoming a sanctuary for political survivalists and all sorts of people with dodgy records, going by the recent ardent list of the president exercising his prerogative of mercy, rather than a party of principle? A member of the APC, a very strong member of the APC, once said, if you defect to the APC, they will use deodorant for your crimes. And if you were a member of the other party, they will use insecticide. So how do you respond to this?
I had the privilege of studying English language for 3 years. And there is a figure of speech called similar metaphor. metaphorical statements should not be interpreted literally. They are done sometimes. The idea of saying when you join the APCs, your sins are forgiven is because you come to be on equal footing with anybody that has been there from day one. That has been long explained by Governor Adams Oshomole. I'd not say more about that. But for the record, let me say this. The coming together of Nigerians to support President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is on a very clear path. Today, if you juxtapose that with what the ADC or ADC's coalition is all about, you will understand that even from the foundation of how ADC took off to say they want to fight our government, it was a criminal hijack of an existing political party. Is it a hook that makes the monk or the monk that makes the hood? You're talking about politicians without baggage. I mean, talking about a political party without a baggage. Yes, those that have been there, like Ibe Kachiku, Nafiu Bala, and the rest, who are legitimate owners of these political parties, may not have had issues. But in this case, you have retired persons from the PDP and other political parties that are now coming as individuals to say they want to form ADC. There is a question mark about that. But since that matter is in court, I dare not say, because I have clear understanding about how political party administration is being run. And if the former chairman of ADC says he's no longer chairman, and the deputy chairman is laying claim to that, the only interpretation the court can give to is the fact that that man, Bala Nafiu, is going to be the chairman and not David Mark. So I do not see ADC as a political party to begin with. For the PDP, like I have said, their next meeting for tomorrow also has just been cancelled. I don't know what will happen to their convention, but I don't know what ship they want to steer. Is it to steer a ship that you have an empty passenger in? And so I use this opportunity to say, I am on evangelism. Please, if you are in any political party, President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is the captain of the ship that is taking us to the port of splendor. Come and join us so that you can land safely. All right. It is not about making Nigeria a one-party state. No! It is because those that have gathered in the book of Isaiah 15:14, as I have said, 54:15, God has not approved of their gathering. All right. And follow the Joshua of our time. Evangelist Alphonsus, we have to go on a break now.
We have to
Thank you very much, Evangelist.
You forgot to add the political before the evangelist.
Okay.
Political
evangelist and pharmaceutical expert. Thank you so much, Mr. Alphonsus Eba, for joining us this morning. Mazi Nnamdi, thank you for joining us. Mr. George Ashiru, thank you for joining us, gentlemen.
We'd like to continue this conversation maybe some other time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Breakfast Central will continue in a moment. First of all, we'll bring you what's coming up next, and Gbenga will bring you the news.
We begin the news with developments in the education sector. A major policy shift aimed at widening access to higher education. The Federal Ministry of Education has announced that students of the arts and humanities will no longer need a credit in mathematics to gain admission into universities and polytechnics in Nigeria. The new directive affects those writing the senior secondary school certificate examination under both the West African Examination Council and the National Examinations Council. For years, all students, regardless of discipline, were required to present at least 5 credits in mathematics and English to qualify for admission. This is now changing for students in non-science fields. Education Minister Dr. Tunji Alausa described the reform as a deliberate and in the meantime, the Federal Ministry of Education has released detailed guidelines and revised admission requirements for tertiary institutions aimed at removing long-standing barriers while maintaining academic standards. According to the ministry, the new policy framework applies to universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, and innovation enterprise academies nationwide. Here's a breakdown of the new requirements. For universities, candidates must have 5 credit passes in relevant subjects, including English language, and not more than 2 sitters. Mathematics is required only for science, technology, and social science courses. For polytechnics, ND level, A minimum of 4 credit passes is needed with the English mandatory for non-science courses and mathematics compulsory for science-related programs. For polytechnics, HND level, students must present 5 credits, including English and mathematics. And for colleges of education, NCE level, a minimum of 4 credits is required. English is mandatory for arts and social sciences. Mathematics is compulsory for science, vocational, and technical disciplines. The ministry says the revised guidelines will broaden access to higher education across all disciplines while aligning with national development goals. A new initiative has been launched to strengthen efforts against gender-based violence in Nigeria. This time, with the men at the center of the campaign. The African Center for Leadership Strategy and Development has unveiled an online course designed to train and certify male advocates committed to promoting gender equality and violence against women and girls. The initiative, known as the Male Feminist Network, aims to change harmful social attitudes by encouraging men to play active roles in preventing gender-based violence across homes and communities. Organizers say the goal is to build a network of trained male advocates who support ongoing efforts towards equality and help reduce the alarming cases of gender-related abuse in the country.
As a bold and transformative initiative to challenge patriarchal norms and mobilize men as allies in the fight against gender-based violence, and mobilize male feminist leaders and grassroots influencers who will champion feminist values, challenge harmful stereotypes, and advance gender justice across Nigeria.
For many years, efforts to end gender-based violence have largely been driven by women and women's organizations. Yet we know that sustainable change can only happen when men are not passive observers, but active.
And the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Odinga, died on Wednesday, aged 80. Odinga suffered a cardiac failure during his morning walk. The Nairobi-based Star newspaper and other Kenyan media outlets reported that he passed away in India after suffering a heart attack. Odinga was the son of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who served as Kenya's first vice president in Jomo Kenyatta's administration. Considered political royalty in the East African nation, it was widely popular among his supporters who heeded his calls en masse to demonstrate when he complained about vote rigging. The electoral disputes repeatedly triggered ethnic tensions and violence, mostly in 2008, when more than 1,100 people died and about 350,000 were forced to flee their homes. And that's all on Breakfast Headlines. I am Gbenga Aborowa. Breakfast Central continues shortly.
Welcome back. In today's competitive business landscape, workplace culture has evolved from being a nice-to-have to a critical business strategy. Experts emphasize that when employees feel valued and connected to their company's mission, productivity and innovation naturally follows. Now, the conversation around the business case for becoming a great place to work explores how cultivating a positive work environment goes beyond employee satisfaction. It directly impacts trust, engagement, performance, and overall organizational growth. Now, joining us in the studio to discuss how this can play out in a workplace, especially how it will and can affect your business, your company, and your staff performance. We do have the country manager, Great Place to Work, Mr. Tochi Achugo, joins us here. Did I get that right? No. Oh, okay. Please help me with that.
My name is Otamere Elegon.
Oh, Tamere. I beg your pardon. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Well, I think we're expecting 2 guests. The other guest is supposed to join us virtually. But then again, let's hope that he does join us. But thank you so much for being here, by the way.
Thank you very much.
It's normal that in a business, in a company, you do have people who sometimes they're not motivated to work. Sometimes they hinge it on salary increment, even when you increase the salary. How does an environment of a workplace play out? How does it impact or affect every single staff who actually works for a company? If the environment is not conducive, does it affect them? Even if it's conducive, how does it play a major role?
Yes, thanks for having me this morning. We see that there's great emphasis around relationships that are built in workplaces. Workplaces are basically an extension of what we have relationships with ourselves, spouses. And so when you come to a place where people come together to work, you want to be able to be sure that we are working together to achieve the same purpose and objectives. There's emphasis around trust. For us as an organization, what they do is what defines being able to build that right culture that is critical for your organization. And there's so much, if I give you an example, there's so much emphasis around agility in the workspace in this day and age. And agility is basically driven by being able to have defined good levels of trust. If I don't trust you in your decisions, if I don't trust you in being able to take care of me, having my back, then there's likelihood that when you give out decisions or agree on decisions, we're not able to effectively articulate and execute on those decisions that are achieved or are agreed upon if we don't begin to have good levels of trust within the organization.
All right. Let's talk about, workplace culture, right? How would you say that, in fact, what defines a workplace culture? And how would you say that this influences employees' trust and how they commit to doing their jobs?
And so, like I mentioned earlier on, the workplace culture basically is the way, in general speaking, is the way we do things here.
So maybe what I'm trying to get is, for example, practical examples of what a workplace culture will look like. And in the course of your time with A Great Place to Work, have you come across organizations that don't have a good workplace culture?
We come across a number of companies that don't have a good workplace culture. And it's centered around, like I mentioned earlier on, that you don't trust management. And so work basically is employers coming together to be able to achieve certain goals and objectives. And so where we have defined what those goals and objectives are, and somewhere along this journey, so to speak, maybe management has promised and not delivered on that promise, then we begin to have doubts when next time management comes to say, we'll go achieve X, Y, Z, and you can be assured of getting certain things done for you. And so being able to have that harmonization between employer and employee to be able to get to achieve those objectives is what would define what your workplace culture looks like.
Okay.
Now, I also want to come in here because we keep talking about a great place to work. Now, many leaders see having a great place to work certification as symbolic, and it does offer a real business advantage. Can you paint a picture of what a great place to work feels and looks like?
Well, once again, I always will emphasize trust, because some people have the wrong notion that if you have a good salaries, it's a great place to work. But we find out that salaries alone don't define great workplaces. And so it's around credibility. We want to be able to see, is management credible? Does management have an understanding of this business? If you don't have management that doesn't know what the direction looks like for the business, you're going to have a lot of restive employees not too sure about what the future looks like. We're going to measure to say, do employees feel respected at work? Do my opinions count? Does management provide me an enabling environment to be successful at work? I can bring my best self to work, irrespective of what I am and who I am at work.
Grow.
And to grow. Certainly have to grow. At the end of the day, employees want to be able to grow, but they want to be able to do that in an environment where they feel secure. I was saying I had a session sometime where I said, when I started work at my time, emphasis was around what the pay was. But we see a growing change around, am I going to be comfortable around where I work? Will I have a great sense of purpose, achieving my purpose, working in a great place to work? And so those are those factors that begin to determine and shape what workplace culture looks like in this day and age.
All right, let's talk about a commonly thrown around word, which is toxic workplace. Okay. And I'm sure that you maybe have met a couple of employees that would say I mean, somebody sent me a message yesterday saying she had quit her job. When I asked why, she said the workplace was toxic. Like you said, it's shifted from just salary conversations to, do I feel accepted here? So what would a toxic workplace look like from some of the complaints that you've heard?
Is where employees are treated as commodities. We say that great workplaces are places where relationships are human, are a gift. Working in an organization, we see it as a gift. And so when you work in a place where it's a commodity, where you are treated like as if you just come to get the job done, I don't care what you need to do, I don't care how you go about it, I don't care whether you're happy about it.
No empathy.
No empathy, no feeling of, there's so much emphasis around work-life balance today in this day and age, and so employees are made to work extra miles, extra hours to get the job done. Employees feel that I can ask a question. We believe that workers today in this day and age are arguably the most intelligent that ever existed since work began, because they are employees who are constantly willing to know and understand. And so one of our questions will say, I can ask my management any reasonable question and get a straight answer. Management is approachable and easy to talk with. If you have a workplace where employees don't feel I can ask questions, I can question. If I'm not comfortable around what the feedback looks like, I can say to management, can I have a word to say, this is what I think around, or what I think it should be done, then you begin to find a situation where employees cannot speak, and they begin to feel like as if this place probably is not the place where I want to go to work.
Mr. Do we need to, Mr. Elegon, do we need to understand the work culture of that place before we ask questions? Before you say, okay, I believe I've worked past 9 hours. Why are you keeping me here? I need to rest. Those sorts of things. Or do you encourage employees to just ask those questions? Because some of those questions can get you into trouble. They might single you out as a troublesome person and, begin to victimize you, even though it's your right. You're not paying me overtime. You're making me work long hours and you expect me to do it on a regular basis.
So that's an example of a place that's not a good place to work. Because employees, because we even find from data and analysis that when employees are able to give their best, they feel part of the organization, there's a good level of belonging, and they can contribute their ideas to make that company grow, productivity is higher. You don't want a place where employees are working long hours and they begin to feel they're not able to give their best at the end of the day. So you want a place where employees can give their best, and highest levels of performance will basically be defined by how long you work on a shift or a particular time of the day.
Okay, I want us to look at companies abroad, and some of the practices that you think that employers in Nigeria can emulate. And I'll give you an example. I had gone to a multinational some years back, and I'm not even talking 2025, and one of the things that stood out for me in that company was the fact that they had daycare provided for the staff, such that nursing mothers who were returning to work could come to work with their children and not be worried about the care that the children were getting. If they needed the mother's attention, they would come down, attend to the children, and go back. And from the reports, that certainly boosted productivity, right? It's not a Nigerian company. Yes, there are some Nigerian companies that are imbibing that culture, but from your experience, what are some of the things that you think we here in Nigeria, employers in Nigeria, can borrow, some cultures they can borrow to improve the quality of the work culture here in Nigeria?
Okay, so for instance, you mentioned the daycare. There is an organization in Nigeria that goes beyond providing a daycare, providing a school. It's a government-registered school in Nigeria where they ensure that the employees at no extra cost have their children.
Is it a Nigerian company?
It's a Nigerian company. I will not mention the name,
yes,
but it's a Nigerian company. But they go above and beyond to be able to provide that sort of feedback. One of the things we also see, and I always keep on laying emphasis around being able to provide that environment where employees can open up and express themselves and have support. And so companies generally would say have regular discussions with the employees. Listening is so critical. We see that listening is one of the biggest challenges we see for leadership. And so being able to provide a platform where employees can genuinely speak up and be listened to, and if feedback from whatever has been said, agreed upon, is taken into consideration is critical. We see also too where companies go to places also too in terms of being able to provide some levels of maybe part of profit sharing. We see that from some companies that go to places say, we agree on certain deliverables. And so when we achieve those deliverables, we get X, Y, and Z as part of the way to motivate employees, so that employees begin to see themselves as partners to be able to achieve the goals and objectives that have been set for them.
What if the part of the argument would be that it's a small company, it's a small business, and they are resource constrained, so they may not be able to do things like opening a school or providing a daycare? How can small businesses and resource constrained businesses also put measures in to ensure that theirs is a great place to work?
And so at Great Place to Work, we have 9 practice areas. I might not be able to fully mention them. One of them is caring for employees. One of them is thanking employees for what they do. So even the basics, you've achieved X, Y, Z, we want to appreciate you for what you've achieved, is critical.
Some will say you are spoiling them. To get into their head.
No, our data,
toxic companies.
No, our data doesn't point to that fact. Our data points to the fact that even as human beings, as relationships, thanking people. So it's almost like saying
after paying them salary, they thank
them.
Yes,
like thanking them. So after saying, it's almost like saying you're paying the fees of your children at school, but you can't thank them for achieving success because you paid their school fees. So
it's an expectation.
Expectation, yes, expectation that is supposed to be part of it. It's about developing employees. And so employees want to be able to come to a place where they work and they feel that they've been developed for whatever it is they've been able to achieve. And there's also too about celebrating employees.
Employee of the month.
Employee of the month, employee of the year. We have companies where the employees is allowed to come sit on the decks of the MD for a day. We see that for a number of companies.
So we've seen Governor of one
Even tech companies, telcos.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And so those are some of those ways, and so those are critical for.
Let's look at the aspect of what future trends will define what it means to be a great place to work, especially starting from now. We have the advent of the artificial intelligence. We have people working remotely. People no longer need to come to the office. So what would the trend look like? What would you call a great place to work, especially for remote businesses and the likes?
Back again, it's going to be centered around trust. AI, remote work, it's going to be centered around trust. Do I trust that when people are working remotely, they're doing the work?
As long as you get the work done.
Exactly. Why are we focusing on? We should focus on productivity as opposed to presence.
So that's critical.
As opposed to eye service.
So that's critical. So whether it's AI, whether it's remote work, it's about, are you getting the job done? Are you delivering on those objectives that are critical? We see one of the biggest challenges across globally around communication. Our survey allows us 2 questions. One says, management is competent at running this business. Another one says, management keeps me informed about what I need to do to get the job done. And we see for a number of companies, the issues around competence, employees say, across Africa will say, no doubt management is competent. But with regards to keeping me informed, it's a big gulf. Some companies, the gap could be about at least 30%. And so we said to management, we said to the HR leaders, you truly are not fully competent if you cannot execute on your strategy. And you require effective communication to be able to drive a strategy. And so there you see how culture plays a key role, even with articulating what strategy is and how it's cascaded across the entire organization.
Now, there's a great place to work also apply to non-white collar jobs, because from our discussions so far this morning, it's almost like it applies to the same category of workers, white collar job. What about the other guys out there?
It applies to them. It applies to them even for the non-collar or blue-collar workers.
No collar.
No collar at all.
The black
it applies. And so for us, the minimum to be a great place to work is 10 employees. Okay. And I say that because when we carry out our surveys, we have to ensure that anonymity is so critical. And so you have to have a number of people to be able to do that survey so that the feedback is not pointed to them. Our survey allows us to say the minimum you can have for any demographic to be defined is having at least 5 people. So that HR is not saying, I'm sure it was John who said this. When you have at least 5 people, it's
not 10, it's 5.
10 people, but 5 people at least in each demography that enables us to be able to define the feedback from the survey. And so for even the non-collar workers, if they are gathered together as a cooperative, we are able to...
You can also apply this to government agencies.
Certainly.
Okay, I have 2 questions, but the first one will be, how can companies or businesses that obviously have terrible work culture, how can they transition? Do you have examples of companies where maybe you had done the first rating and it was a very terrible work culture, they failed in flying colors, and then over time they were able to transition to then become a great place to work? If you have examples, it would be great to share.
I will not mention examples.
Okay.
But we know of a very reputable organization that hires thousands of employees. When they did the survey the first time, they didn't get certified as a great place to work. But management recognized that the fact that this is a journey. It's a journey. And so they said to us, we know it's a journey, we know where we are. The results were not shocking as a surprise, but we want you to come and work with us as an organization to be able to achieve those objectives. And so through a cultural transformation framework, we began to work with them through trainings, workshops, interventions, diverse interventions. And today, as I speak, over a 6-year period, they are one of the most celebrated companies.
Wonderful. Okay. We're going to break. When we come back from the break, I'll ask you my second question. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're speaking with Mr. Otamere Legon, and we're looking at a great place to work and what that entails. You're the country manager of a great place to work. My final question is, what is the importance of being certified a great place to work? Because some people can think, I don't really need that. We're doing well. The numbers are converting. Why is it important?
Make assumptions, yeah.
Exactly, to be certified a great place to work.
Well, thanks a lot. It's a badge that is recognized in 170 plus countries. I think when I even checked this morning, it's 180 plus countries. For us, that speaks to credibility of what we do. It speaks to a defining of workplace culture. As an organization, we basically led the charge around defining good workplaces, around workplace culture. And so we see great value. I work as country manager for Great Place to Work Nigeria. I oversee operations in Kenya and Cote d'Ivoire, but we surveyed in about 22 plus countries across Africa. And the feedback clearly points out to the fact that certification has enabled us to attract great talent. Reaching out to HR leaders across these companies, they say, being certified has enabled us to attract good talent. We see a lot of employees who are asking questions around the company a great place to work, to be sure that I'm not going to get into a toxic environment. We see also too that because employees are better engaged at work, it impacts on their productivity. We see employees who are at good workplaces have greater levels of pride. And that impacts on productivity. Because we say, like I always say, customers can see from a mile away when employees have great pride in what they do and what they bring to the table. And so we see from our data that it impacts on productivity. It impacts on return on investments because customers can relate with the business, want to do more business with the organization, and all of that are those benefits that we see for great workplaces. Okay. So it's getting the right people, credible employees, getting also to even innovation is critical, and we see great workplaces really outshine the market in terms of innovation. All
right, thank you very much for joining us. And as you continue with your trainings and certifications, please tell employers that some of the things we're advocating for would be 4 days to work and 3 days to stay at home, and for people to be more flexible working from home. And also, they should toast us when they're employing us. I saw a friend who was applying for a job, and the person showed me the JD, and part of what the organization was saying, in Norway, they were saying to you, perks of working with us, you have access to the spa, you have access to the sporting facility, our office is by the beach. Wow. And I said, wow, this is pure 100% toasting. As an employee, you'll be excited to work with them.
But so we find out like that, if there's no trust, irrespective of all of these specs, they're going to have challenges in future.
Exactly, because it will be audio, all the promises will be audio.
Mr. Otamere Legon, thank you for joining us this morning from A Great Place to Work. And that does our conversation in that regard, and we hope more organizations will see the importance of being certified a great place to work. We're going to break, and when we come back, more to come.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central, and it's time for us to look at the newspaper front pages for analysis on the newspaper headlines today. We have in my right corner Oliver Modi and Joe Hansen. Warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Gentle lady and gentleman.
Thank you very much for having me on Breakfast Central.
Because of a few time we have minutes we have left in the program, let's just get straight into it. I'll start with the Punch newspaper, and I mean, yesterday you attested to the fact that you were shocked to see 920 naira a litre. This morning I bought petrol for 920, and I'm like, what's going on? Didn't you deregulate the sector? What's the reason for this? Apparently, marketers are blaming depots as petrol nears 1,000 naira per litre. The rider says fresh hike worsens inflation fears. Commuters face higher transport fares. That's standard. Dangote targets 600 million litres supply to stabilize markets.
Airports.
And call mount for government intervention. Experts query deregulation claims. At least, I mean, I hope they do something about this, because 920 a litre is a bit on the high side. It's
terrible. Still on the front page, acting INEC chair outlines plans for Anambra poll. November is just around the corner, so the elections are the Anambra.
The new appointment, Professor Amu will be subject to clearance.
Yes.
So the acting will most likely advance the November election.
Absolutely.
You're a fantastic analyst.
Thank you so much, my fantastic co-analyst. Ekiti poll, APC adopts consensus as Oyebanji's rival withdraws. Interesting. Court orders exhumation, autopsy of Afriland Towers fire victims. What is this? So first of all, it's already traumatic enough for the family members that these people died by a fire accident, right? Now, a number of them have been buried. So you want them to go again, bring out their body.
And the families have closure already.
Yes.
And then the financial implication, is it necessary?
Why was it not ordered from the jump that these people, hold on to the burial, let's carry out an autopsy before you do the burial. So you allow them go ahead with the burial. You exhume the body, or you are now ordering that the bodies be exhumed, and then an autopsy. Autopsy is also another thing that is quite traumatizing, because they're really just going to open the body parts of the deceased. And honestly, it is their families that I really do feel for. I don't know the details of that. Maybe we can dig further into that by tomorrow. Tinubu equals as Osimhen fires Nigeria to World Cup playoffs. Enugu governor, 3 Kaduna reps jump PDP for APC. Alien finance minister flown abroad for treatment. We hope that gets better. And that the time comes that no matter what the ailment is, we can treat it within Nigeria. Court adjourns suit seeking to stop PDP convention. Strike National Assembly into ASU and federal government dispute. And that's all on the page of the Punch. Let's see if we can take one or two on the Nigerian Tribune. PDP suffers multiple losses in Enugu, Bauchi, and Kaduna. Ekiti 2026. Coast clears for Oyebanji as APC adopts consensus option to pick governorship candidate. Oberewori flags off reconstruction of Warri Sapele Benin Road. Health, brain disorder kills 11 million yearly. Affects 40% of global population according to World Health Organization. Which of the brain disorders is this? Nigeria secures Shell's $2 billion offshore gas project. IMF raises Nigeria's 2025 growth forecast to 3.9%, projects 4.2% in 2026. ASU strike rep speaker to chair committee to reconcile federal government and varsity workers. NGX closing gong ceremony. We see that. Okay, federal government drops maths as requirement for admission of arts students. And I think that will be all, because I'm looking at the front page of the New Telegraph and I do not see any different. Okay, there's just one different story on the New Telegraph, and it says, power. Federal government, GENCOs reach agreement of 4 trillion naira debt payment, and early menopause linked to increased dementia risk, according to a study.
And there's also a second chance for Eagles for going to the playoffs. Air Osimhen. I believe if Nigeria wants to revive its national carrier, Victor Osimhen should be part of that committee, because it's very good in the air. He scored 2 headed goals yesterday, so it's now Air Osimhen.
Wow. Air Osimhen. All right. We need to get out. Jasiri comes in a few minutes, but thank you for joining us. And to our YouTube community, we can see your comments. Idi Idaibi Ibisiki, or I hope I pronounced that correctly. Yes, it's correct. Idaibi Ibisiki says, the governors are defecting, but are the people defecting too? Let us remember that these governors have just one vote. Remi Adeleke says, people will follow those that can mobilize them. That's why structure is important in politics. Israel Samuel says, calculate this. If 20 governors defect and came along with 100,000 of their workforce with them, that is 2 million votes secure. When they begin to share money in your village, targets 200,000 times 20. And it goes ahead to say, don't worry, the third phase of the 2 million votes, the House members will bring that one. The final phase will come in on electoral glitches, and to cement it, they're already building houses for judges.
I don't know about that, though.
Anyway, that's all that we can take this morning via live stream on YouTube. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Olive Emodi.
And I'm Gbenga.
And I'm Johansson. Thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow.
Au revoir.